starter cookies, we're going to start with dry ingredients first, wet later. Always think about baking. Of course, there's some exceptions, but most baking has to do with getting your dry ingredients mixed up and either sifted or mixed well and set aside. So this is 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm going to add a teaspoon of baking soda. To this, I'm going to add some spices, and it's up to you what spices you want to use. But it's roughly about 2.5 teaspoons of spices combined. I've got 3/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, a full teaspoon of cinnamon, and then I put in a little allspice just to have a little fun with it. So that is going to go in. Give that a mix. To this, I'm going to add a healthy dash of some kosher salt. And I've got 2 cups of old-fashioned rolled oats. All right, I'm going to set aside the jar and I'm going to start working on the wet half. Okay, we've got that 1/2 cup of butter and it's been softened at room temperature, so it's nice and silky smooth. All right, to this we're going to add a cup of brown sugar. We're going to whip this up. To this we're going to crack an egg. And I like having my eggs sit out a little bit so the chill's out. And a teaspoon of vanilla. All right, we have 2/3 of a cup of buttermilk that needs to come in here. And what I like to do with the buttermilk, and any kind of buttermilk recipe, I like to alternate with the dry. So I'm going to add about half of my dry ingredients here. And I'm going to slowly just get it incorporated. And I'm going to put 1/3 of the buttermilk, and I've shaken this up nicely. And the buttermilk is going to give this recipe a nice tang and a nice cakey texture. Now I'm going to add the rest of the dry. Get it a little incorporated. Now we're going to put the rest of, so that's a full 2/3 of buttermilk. Great way to use up buttermilk. I mean, my God. You need a little buttermilk for a recipe, you get this giant thing. Can't seem to get small bottles anymore. At this point, scrape the sides. Make sure everything's combined. Now at this point, you can do whatever mix-in you would like. Oatmeal raisins, usually like some nuts and raisins. I like to put chocolate chips in mine. So, it's really totally up to you. If you want to do more of a traditional oatmeal cookie, you can do a 1/2 cup of nuts, like a 1/2 cup of chopped walnut, and then 1 cup of raisins. I'm probably going to do a 1/2 cup of nut and maybe a 1/2 cup to 3/4 cups of chocolate chips. Kind of depends what's in my baking cabinet. While I'm going to go find those, it's good to let the batter sit a little bit and let the oat groat, the fiber, kind of swell up a little bit with some of this moisture. It's going to add to a chewier cookie and a cookie that's going to hold together better. So while we're going to let this sit, we're waiting for our oven to heat up, which is, you want an oven at 350. I'm also going to line some baking sheets with parchment and go find my mix-ins. All right, so we've got about 3/4 of a cup of chopped walnuts. You could also put dried cranberries, dried cherries, dried cranberries, dried cherries, white chocolate chips. This is just under a cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips. I'm going to give this a healthy stir. All right, we got a parchment-lined baking sheet. I've got a tablespoon, and I'm going to drop these down, tablespoon at a time. All right, these are ready to go. They're going to go in the oven for about 8 to 10 minutes. I might flip them halfway. We're looking for golden edges and puffed up centers. Okay, just pulled these out and getting up close so you can see those golden edges, like right around here. And when you touch the center, it kind of springs back. And that's how you know that they're set. So this took about 15 minutes, flipping the sheets once in between. Let them sit in the sheets for about 5 minutes so they can fully set up. Then we're going to transfer them to cooling racks. There they are. And I think next time, if I have more chocolate chips, I'll add more. All right. I'm going to talk with my mouth full because that's the way it goes here at the homestead. So, thank you for joining me today on a baking day, using up some buttermilk, which is something I think all of us need to do because we're always stuck with a giant vat of buttermilk in the fridge. So, get baking today and have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for coming by. Thank you for the support. And if this is your first time, please subscribe and you'll stay up on all the fun things we do here. Gardening, crafting, baking, even touring the city and checking out new stuff. So it's all about making the world lovelier, one pixel at a time. Ciao! Bye!